In life, there is always another level, and this is applicable to every area of life, regardless of what you've already achieved. So in your financial life, in your health, your mindset, the creativity, the impact you're having on the world, your philanthropy, spirituality, your love relationships, your friend-based relationships, every single aspect and area of your life, there is another level. And when you begin to work and achieve goals in all of these different areas, that is where true transformation can emerge. So what is transformation? Well, it's defined as a metamorphosis during the life cycle of an animal. And metamorphosis is defined as a change of the form or nature of a thing or person into a completely different one by natural or supernatural means. The easiest example of this is the caterpillar that turns into the butterfly. And really, I want to break down the difference between transformation and achieving goals, because that caterpillar didn't set a goal to become a butterfly and go achieve it. Like, transformation is literally about becoming a whole new person. So achieving goals is about improving one area of life, and transformation is about literally recreating your life at the next level. So this difference is really kind of explained here as the enlightened philanthropist versus the successful marketer. Now, there's a time and a place to have a goal to become a successful marketer, but you'll see that you'll get the most fulfillment when you really elevate the other aspects of your life as well. And that successful marketer phase can lead you to the transformative place of being the enlightened philanthropist. If you have too much focus on one goal and one area of life, it can be extremely detrimental. And achievement does not always lead to fulfillment. Now, this slide here was actually challenging for me to create. This is a list of extremely successful people who went down the path of what I would call traditional success. And they at some point got to a point where they were so disappointed or depressed with the life that they had created that each one of these people has ended their own life. Robin Williams, one of the just best comedians and actors, Anthony Bourdain, who was living a lifestyle that millions and millions of people who envied, Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain, Avicii, Chester Bennington, all amazing musicians with huge followings. Chester Bennington actually has a video on YouTube with his band Linkin Park. They've had over 1 billion views on one of their videos. Marilyn Monroe, obviously everyone knows who she is. Dave Mirra was one of the absolute best BMX riders. Vert, Ramp, Park, like that dude was a beast. And each one of these people were able to achieve great success in one area of their life, but it was lacking from the other aspects of life. And they literally made the horrific decision to end their life. And I bring this up because this is the real cost of going too focused on one specific area and not really focusing on transforming all aspects of your life to emerge to that next level of your being. So fulfillment really is the key. Here's a few quotes to really help this sink in. So Tony Robbins says, "Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure." Albert Einstein, "A life directed chiefly toward the fulfillment of personal desires will sooner or later always lead to bitter disappointment." Joel Osteen says, "Keep in mind that you'll have true happiness, true fulfillment, not living to get, but living to give." And Tony Robbins, again, because he's such a beast in this space, "To have an extraordinary quality of life, you need 2 skills, the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment." And that's the big idea here from this training, is that when we get this achievement and fulfillment dialed in, your life will literally transform to levels that you can't even fully understand from where you are today. I want to help you get there. So that's what we're going to go through is the process. Now, transformation leading to fulfillment. Improving one area of your life stems from achieving a goal. Achieving goals in many areas of your life leads to the ultimate transformation that we're after. So when you get the health goals dialed in, your wealth goals are dialed in, the impact you have on this world, your love and relationship goals, your creativity, when you get all of those things working and you level each one of those up through achieving goals in all areas of life, that's when you reach true fulfillment. And you're right now learning a process to achieve goals so we can open you to this ultimate transformation. So this is the GST method for achieving your goals. GST stands for goals, strategies, and tactics. So the goals are about what outcomes are you aiming for. These are specific outcomes in the specific areas of your life. The strategies is how do you believe you can best achieve that goal? The tactics level is what actions make up that specific strategy. So when we set a goal, an outcome that we're aiming for, and then you go find and choose a strategy you think is the fast track to achieving that goal, the tactics, the actual day-to-day actions within your everyday life are what are either leading you on the path to achieving your strategy, and then applying that strategy successfully for long periods of time is how you achieve your goals. Again, you do this in several areas of life. That's how you create the transformation. So we're going to start at the goal setting level. I'm going to give you some tips on setting goals. First of all, think about what positive change do you want to experience in 3 to 5 years. Now, most people are keenly aware of that number that they want to achieve, whether it's the 10 grand a month, the 30 grand a month, the 50 grand a month. That's an easy one for a lot of people, is the financial goals. But be sure you take time to think about the goals of your relationship, the goals of your family life, the goals of how much time you have, what kind of charitable contributions are you giving to this world. It's really important, even if you don't feel like you have the time, the energy, or the abundance to be donating, you still need to be aware of where you want to get in each and every level. If you're not currently in a relationship, describe the relationship that you want to create. If you are currently in a relationship, describe what the world looks like as that relationship elevates to the next level. When you're working on the money goal, because obviously the whole content and conversion membership program is designed to help you create a successful business, and that is going to, afford you the lifestyle, and that's where you create your income. But it's so important to remember that money is a byproduct of the value you create in the lives of others. And if you help people with very high value goals, that's a way to make lots of money. If you help lots and lots of people, high volumes of people with low to medium value goals and challenges in their lives, that's another way of earning income. So it's a factor of the amount of value you create in the lives of others and the number of others that you create that value in. Now, your goal needs to fire you up on an emotional level. Generally speaking, people will be able to be fired up on a monetary goal for a brief period of time, but there comes a time in your life when you maybe have achieved that financial goal, you've got your debt paid off, you're now comfortable. You need to be able to find new goals and new ways to motivate yourself, to get leverage on yourself, to keep going forwards. And generally, these are when the goals start to turn externally into helping others and being of service. A really good area for you to look at, and this is true in business and also in this whole kind of goal setting process, is what is wrong with the world, with your industry, or with yourself that you must shift. Right? So when I looked at the world of internet marketing before I started the YouTube channel for around the Miles Beckler brand and started content and conversion, I was so frustrated with the rubbish content being put out to simply promote a course that had subpar content. I bought a bunch of courses. I went through each and every one of them, and I thought these are all whack, and the person that's selling it is not offering any value at all. It truly pissed me off. Like I actually got frustrated. I was kind of complaining about it to my wife, and finally it was like, you know what? Obviously, I'm the guy who's supposed to do something about this. I'm gonna put out the best damn content YouTube's ever seen. And that fired me up, and I think you could probably hear it and feel it in my voice. Like that literally, that got me fired up. And that is where that next level of motivation and energy that I tapped into came from. So look at your world that's around you. Look at your industry that you're in, and also yourself, right? What must shift in the next 3 to 5 years? These are really the things that get you emotionally charged. Those are the great places for you to look at to set your goals, because that's where you're going to find that energy required to break through. So here's a GST example from me, right? The goal was to become the most helpful internet marketer in the world. The strategy was to publish 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years. Now, where did I come up with this strategy? And I want to talk about strategy for a quick minute here. I modeled successful people, right? And you can always go look at people who have created a result that you seek to achieve in your life, and you can implement the strategy. It's very easy to go reverse engineer the strategy that you ultimately want to use to get to your goal. So for me, one of the people I was able to go look at is Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary Vaynerchuk, when he grew Wine Library TV, he grew that essentially he grew a physical wine store in either New York or New Jersey through doing YouTube videos where he just really tasted wines and talked about what he tasted. He did approximately 1,000 videos in 5 years. And that not only launched his wine business to an absolute astounding level of success. I believe he went from something like $3 million to $60 million in revenue per year in that business, but it also put him out on the main stage in the world of competent marketers, world of great marketers. So that was it. That was all I needed. I saw somebody who did it, 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years. Perfect. This is coming off the heels of working with my wife, who since 2009 through 2016, which is when this kind of goal sheet would be emergent for me, she published about 600 blog posts to her blog and was generating millions and millions and millions of visits. So I saw, from my family level that lots of great content published with keyword research and the basics of SEO mixed with, several years of grinding it out. Then I see someone like Gary Vaynerchuk producing the same result with the same method on YouTube. Perfect. This is how I'm going to do it. Then it's on to the tactics. How am I actually going to do this? Well, I had a cell phone in my pocket. So I started there, right? I literally got a cell phone holder from a $9.99 selfie stick from my local Staples. And that was where I started. I just put that on a little little tripod that I had, and I started there. Then I started doing webcam videos, right? So this is the other tactic. Then I started doing screen share videos. Then I started making slideshow-based videos. At one point, I started a Facebook group to try to share the videos. I ended up folding that because that tactic didn't stick around. It wasn't for me. Keyword research and SEO is one of the tactics. I tried more clickbait-like titles. I've tried a lot of very specific tactics in the thumbnail optimization world, right? So the tactics are the little actions and the little activities that ultimately support me in the strategy. So if you notice, all of these tactics here are directly related to publishing 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years. And my thought is, if I publish 1,000 great how-to videos on YouTube in 5 years, I'm easily going to be able to be looked at as the most helpful internet marketer in the world. Bingo. So let's look at how this worked for my wife. So for Melanie, and this is literally going back to 2009. This is not where she's at today. This is when she was just getting started. So her big goal was to become a world-renowned author and channel. The strategies was daily blogging plus growing her email list plus self-publishing. The tactics were keyword research and SEO. We tried doing audio recordings of her spoken word and then transcribing those audios to get the written content. Using pop-ups and landing pages to grow the list, giving away an MP3 in exchange for the opt-in. Very aggressive in those days. Again, this was like 09 and 09, 010, 11. Very aggressive Twitter and Facebook marketing. Neither of those are really active today. Publishing MP3s as slideshows on YouTube to grow that list and to grow that audience. If you look at her YouTube channel, you'll see that I don't think she did a video with her face on the video until probably about 2013 or 14, so about 4 or 5 years. Adding audio files to the podcast feed to get her content showing up on the iTunes podcast directory. And multiple 90-day blogging challenges, right? Like I talk a lot about doing 90-day blogging challenges and 90-day YouTube challenges, and that's not a one and done and then you've made it type thing. That means you just got to the starting line. She's done multiple 90-day blogging challenges. She's done video challenges, and we leverage that big time to really move forward. So again, notice all of these different tactics here, and I could list 10 times what I showed here, are all pointing directly towards our main strategies, which are all focused on achieving our goal. So when we're doing the audio files, we're creating an audio file and we're transcribing that to create the written word, the blogging. We decided to repurpose that audio that we had to YouTube and to the podcast directory because we had just made an audio file. Might as well get as much reach for it. So every piece really supports the strategy, and then applying that strategy for a long enough period of time, and we do achieve said goal. So this is how goals, strategies, and tactics all work together. You rarely want to change your goals. These are like a long-term focus, and really I say 3 to 5 years. I think it's probably better off being a 5 to 10 year goal. But you can definitely revisit and revise your goal after a few years to make sure you're still on track. Life changes, we change, our life circumstances change, and it's good to adjust as we move forward. Adjusting the strategy is going to happen a little bit more often than changing your goals, but still very seldom, because you need to really stay focused on one strategy for a long period of time to get the power of compounding on your side. You see, when my wife had finished her first 100 blog posts, her website really didn't get that much traffic. When she finished 200, it got a little bit more, but by the time she had finished blog post number 300 and blog post number 400, the site was really gaining some massive momentum, because at that point, we were one of the foremost leaders and one of the foremost frequent publishers in her space out of everyone online. Just like me taking that approach to get to the 1,000 videos. As of this recording, I'm a little bit over 450 videos. In my first 90 days, I did 90 videos. 120 days, I did 120 videos. I only had 500 subscribers. 120 videos, 500 subscribers. Today, I've done 450 videos and I've got about 80,000 subscribers. So I'm getting more results now for actually the same or less effort. And that's the power of compounding. The tactics are interchangeable, and you need to iterate these as needed based on the feedback that you're getting, right? Are these individual tactics working? You need to have the patience to allow the search engines to pick it up and to allow your content to get indexed and for you to grow your authority. But when we started seeing the signs that Twitter reach was declining and Twitter was getting spammed out by a bunch of bots, we reallocated that energy to a different platform. When Facebook's organic marketing system really started to fall apart and we started to get drastically less reach for the same effort on Facebook, we reallocated that energy. We stopped on that tactic and we started implementing the Pinterest tactic. So this is how you iterate the different tactics based on the feedback that you're getting. So achievement of your goals is emergent from the long-term application of your strategy. This is not a linear or mathematical process. I wish it was, but that's just not how it works. It's not A plus B plus C equals, your desired result. That's not how it works. You actually need to get really good at A, and then you need to get really good at B, and then you need to get really good at C, and out of that, what you truly desire emerges. So an example of this is someone who decides that they want to run Facebook ads into a funnel, and then from the funnel, they want to sell some sort of coaching and consulting. So the different ABC in this situation is you're going to have to learn how to run Facebook ads, the actual technical side of the Facebook ads platform. You're going to have to learn how to build out funnels. You're going to have to learn copywriting is going to be one of the main keys for you in that situation. You're going to have to learn email marketing, and you're going to have to learn to deliver a promise, deliver what you offer. So out of all of those things, you actually have to just keep working and tactically working within each one of those segments and areas, and eventually you find an alignment of principles, alignment of ideas, an alignment of new skills and tactics within each one of those, and success emerges. As I stated before, you want to model proven strategies and tactics to increase your odds of success. So just like I said, I saw my wife create a lot of content and get great traffic on the search engine that way. I saw Gary Vaynerchuk do the same thing with the YouTube search engine. Perfect. I'm not much of a writer, so I'm not going to force myself to write because that's too difficult. I'm going to go do what Gary did on YouTube. I'm going to go all in on YouTube and trust that this is going to work. And I can tell you right now, it sure is. Time is the ultimate key ingredient here. Really, you have to apply your strategy and your tactics for long periods of time. It always takes longer than we want. We are an instant gratification society. We want it yesterday. We want it now. But the truth is that the ultimate rewards of creating success that you desire comes from years. I'm talking 3 to 5 years of intense amounts of work, but the income you create and the time freedom you create that will allow you to focus on goals in other areas of your life is absolutely transformational. You must apply the right strategy successfully for long periods of time. Cool. So deeper into this, the success with the tactics comes from building new competencies. Now I'm going to use competencies through this. You could interchange that word with the word skills, but I think skills has a little bit of a connotation to it. So I want to use competencies. You don't have to become one of the best in the world at something, but you do have to become competent at many areas. So success with the tactics comes from building new competencies. You got to get competent with keyword research if you want to do blogging. You got to get competent on WordPress. You got to get competent on Thrive themes. There's just a bunch of little nuts and bolts that you have to get competent with. Success at your strategy comes from combining many competencies. So if you are a blogger who wants to drive traffic into an organic traffic funnel on a Thrive Themes website, that's exactly what you need to do. Your competencies need to grow around becoming a great writer so you can write content that people love to read, doing keyword research and SEO. You got to get competent in both of those. Your theme in WordPress, you got to get competent on both of those platforms. Then ultimately how to get people to opt in, right? Like those are the different competencies. And when you link your competencies together, that is when success at your strategy emerges. Your goal achievement comes from executing that one strategy for a long time. I've said it 3 times now. I've probably got it at least 2 or 3 more times in this presentation. That is the most important takeaway, is that goal achievement comes from executing one strategy that's proven to work for others for a long enough period of time to allow your true success to emerge. And you want to apply this GST to all areas of your life to truly transform your life. So you can look at the health side of things. What are you consuming? What are you eating? What are you doing actively? How many days a week are you going to the gym? How many days a week are you going outside for a walk, right? If you're into the spirituality side, how often are you meditating? How often are you taking time for family? How often do you schedule family time into your world? Your relationships, you can apply the same exact principle. Are you scheduling date nights in every single week just because? Are you scheduling movie nights in every single week just because? Do you have dedicated scheduled times to spend time with your spouse or partner or significant other, just like you have dedicated times to work on your business? So you can apply this same goal strategy tactics level to all areas of your life, and that is when the transformations can truly emerge. So out of this, right, there's a lot of moving parts. The transformation is the top level, the goals, the strategies, the tactics, and what makes up the tactics are the competencies. And everything hinges on these competencies. Everything hinges. Your relationships with your spouse. How competent of a listener are you? How competent of a communicator are you, right? How competent are you at romancing them? Those are the keys, right? But we're going to keep it more focused on the business side. I had to make sure there's enough reminders in here that this is about implementing it towards all areas of your life, because that's where you truly get the fulfillment that you desire. So competencies are what lie between you right here where you are listening to this and where you want to be. Long-term competencies are so much better than short-term ones. Here's a specific example: SEO, search engine optimization versus Snapchat. Did some people grow big platforms in Snapchat's boom and bust cycle that we saw in 2016, 17, and 18? Absolutely. Undoubtedly, there were some people who did. But the number of people who built noteworthy, long-lasting platforms on Snapchat is tiny. Very, very, very small number, and Snapchat is dead at this point in time. So SEO, on the other hand, is something that people who have been working effectively using simple competencies, right? I'm not talking best in the world, just competent SEOs who know where to put a couple of keywords on a page and they just go forward boldly and they've stuck with it. They're still creating massive amounts of traffic. This is why my wife's website generates over 8 million visits to her site every single year, is because she focused on the long-term competency and the long-term strategy. Now, when you get your long-term strategy firing, you can add on other competencies, because as we said, success with your strategy is implementing your competencies over long periods of time. So right now we're doing SEO, but we're adding on a lot of Pinterest marketing is that big one that we're added on because we have enough free time. But you might be all in on just SEO and blogging and that's all you have time for. Great, stick with it there. You're going to get more competent with those tasks to the point where what took you 4 hours now takes you 2. And with that freed up 2 hours, you add on another competency. So be really strategic in choosing your competencies and get them to work together. So the person who wants the Facebook ads funnel, learning copywriting is absolutely key. If you really want to grow a proper funnel, a cold traffic funnel with Facebook ads to grow a business online, you have to become an absolute master of copywriting. And that's where you need to be strategic in which competencies you choose to go after so they work together. And some method of content creation is required. I don't care if you focus on audio only and you're doing the podcast thing. I don't care if you're doing video or if you're doing the written word, but one of those 3 content creation competencies are absolutely required for your long-term success. I'll go as far as saying that once you get competent in one, you got to learn how to add on the next and the next eventually. So how do you choose what your next competencies are, right? Since it's all hangs and hinges on competencies, how do you know what the next one is? Well, start with what you have. What skills and competencies do you already have? What's already working for you? Take a moment to assess where you're at and what you're working on. I want to give you a real world example from me because I've just made a little bit of a transformation or a little bit of a kind of a new strategy, I guess is a better way of putting it in the context of this video. For 2.5 years, I've been putting out my videos. Started with a daily video, then it went to 3 videos a week. Worked to get that content on all 3 pillars, right? So I've got the blog content now coming off of my videos, and I've got the podcast content, and I'm putting out my videos. But I never really got to the point where I was publishing a lot of new and unique content on my blog. Whereas I've been daily emailing every day since February, which as of this recording is about 10, 11 months of daily emails. Now, today, and as of just a couple of weeks ago, I've started taking my daily emails and adding them to a new category on my blog. So today, my blog is actually growing faster with more content than it ever has before. I haven't stopped making my videos. I haven't stopped getting my videos on the podcast. I haven't stopped getting my videos in written form on my blog. But I've added on something new to all of this because I freed up enough time and I'm doing that new competency, that new skill, flexing that muscle of daily emails. Well, I might as well maximize my returns on that content I'm creating. Bingo. That's what I've now created. And that's how I added it on because I looked at where I was doing these daily emails. I still want my blog to grow more because Google has billions of searchers per day who would love to find something that I talk about, I assume, maybe millions, right? Like there's a big gap between where I'm at and where I could be with that traffic. So more content's the answer. So that's what I came up with because that's looking at what am I doing? What skills and competency do I have right now? My daily email. And then how can I leverage that for my business to achieve my strategy? Then be sure you're taking time to consider where your audience actually spends their time. This is so important because if you know your audience is 18 to 35-year-old guys and you're all in on Pinterest marketing, you're flat out missing the boat, right? Like Pinterest marketing can work wonderfully, but it generally works best for female demographics in their 30s to 50s and beyond, right? So you need to make sure that your content is going out to where your audience spends their time. If you're in the business to business world, sure, they spend some time on YouTube, but they probably possibly spend more time on LinkedIn than they do on YouTube. So that's really important to, when you go to decide what your next competencies are, is to make sure they're pointing in the direction of where your perfect audience is. And then the idea we talked about a moment ago, which was what competencies work well together. So if you're a business to business consulting, blogging, copywriting, and LinkedIn marketing work really well together to strategically connect you with those people who are searching on LinkedIn, those people who are searching on Google, looking for ideas around that which you consult on. If you're a personal trainer, videos plus YouTube lives plus Facebook lives and webinars all work together, right? It's a lot of video skills. So your sales presentation, which is a webinar, is a video skill. Your Facebook lives and your YouTube lives can actually be done at once through restream.io. Your videos that you do video trainings. Here's how to do this exercise. Here's how to do that circuit. Those videos go up on YouTube on their own. And all of this is getting you a massive amount of reach, and your webinars are that conversion moment to help you bring in new personal training clients. If you're a makeup artist, Instagram, YouTube videos are great ways to show off that kind of skill, to show off the how-to stuff. Plus, Pinterest would fit right in with this, and you could go almost all in on the social with adding on the YouTube how-to videos, and that would be a great way to build an audience around being a makeup artist. Whether you're selling to professional makeup artists and you're teaching them new skills that they can apply to their clients, or whether you're going directly to the consumers, those people who just want to learn how to do cool makeup stuff, right? That's a perfect way to connect with them because in theory, they're on Instagram and Pinterest, plus your YouTube videos can get chopped up into little Instagram tidbits and into Pinterest videos, right? All of those platforms are video friendly. If you're a pet trainer, copywriting plus Facebook ads plus videos can be a great way. You make these Facebook sales videos, you run it on Facebook ads. The copywriting could actually take them to a video webinar. It could take them to a video sales page. And pet owners are notoriously amazing at how much time, money, energy they will invest in their relationship with their pets. So that's a great combination of competencies: copywriting, getting good at videos, Facebook ads. You can easily identify pet owners on Facebook. You can easily create, if you're a good copywriter, a video sales letter. You can easily run a video inside of a Facebook ad. Bingo. Those are the competencies that would work well in that situation. So being mindful of what competencies work really well together. Then there's the idea of, how do you get to the high potential competencies? How do you get those competencies that are really going to move the needle? And generally, it's not necessarily about choosing the right ones. I mean, that does play a part, but it's really about the repetition. It's about flexing the muscle over and over enough to really build that muscle. So from where you are right now, what is the next best competency for you? And if you've decided that it's copywriting, great. If you've decided that it's YouTube videos, great. Now go all in. Go all in on it. This is why I love the 90-day challenge. The 90-day challenge just forces you to go through the process of that competency. And within the competency, and you could choose either YouTube videos, for example, right? There's keyword research. There's how do I do my lighting? How do I dial in my audio? What camera? Like there's all these little pieces. How do I deliver? Do I use a notepad? Do I use a teleprompter? Do I just wing it and shoot off the hip? Like all of those questions get answered when you do the act 90 days in a row. Then on the copywriting example, for another example. So you want to do a 90-day challenge on copywriting. The great copywriters, I would go get Dan Kennedy's Ultimate Sales Letter book. Making Ads Pay by John Caples is a fantastic book. Eugene Schwartz's book, Breakthrough Advertising. And then writing out one great old school sales letter every single day for 90 days. That process, along with reading the books and understanding the little intricacies, will make the whole it'll demystify the world of sales copy, because you're going to read the ideas in the book that you're reading. So an hour a day of reading and then 2 hours a day of hand writing out those sales letters. By the end of 90 days, you will be far beyond 80 to 90% of all people who have ever dabbled in copywriting just by taking those specific actions. If you do it once a week and you maybe read you read for an hour a week and you kind of spend 1 hour a week kind of writing, it's going to take you years to get competent. But if you want to boost those competencies and really crank them up to their potential fast, you got to go all in. Then I really recommend developing one new key competency at a time so you can really gain confidence with it. Now, within the competency, like say videos is what you're focused on. Sure, there's a lot of little sub-tactics, but really go all in on this idea. So for me, when I started the YouTube channel, August of 2016, I did not add on email marketing, which was the first kind of add-on that I did, until February of 2017. So from August of 16 till February of 17, that's 6 months, I did nothing but videos. I didn't feel like I had it figured out. It still took me all the energy in the day that I had spare because I was still building my wife's business, right? We migrated her site off ClickFunnels during that period of time, built out our whole Thrive Themes membership area in that part of time. There was an amazing amount of work going on. I kept all my ads running through all that time for her business. So out of all of that, I had enough time in the day to do one video a day every single day for the first 4 months. Then I shifted over to 3 videos per week. That was all I could handle. Then at the 6-month mark, I was ready to add my next competency. I had gained confidence in the process of creating the videos, all those little tactics that build up to the competency to where I was a competent video publisher. It was there. I had the muscle memory. It became unconscious. I was unconsciously competent at that point in time. I was confident as a video creator. Bingo. What's that next thing I'm adding on? And for me, it was my list building, then it was emailing, then it was getting the blog, and on and on and on. And there was always a lag, 3 months, 6 months of just all in on that next competency I'm bringing in. Cool. Once I committed to the email, I didn't stop doing my YouTube daily videos. Those were second nature. Those kept coming out. But now I was just, all of my life energy was focused on, God, how do I do this email thing? I've supported my wife in email marketing for years, but I'd never written the emails. I'd never written my own autoresponder sequence, right? I just helped my wife put it together, which is the easy part, to be honest with you. So I had to go through all of those challenges. What do I write? How do I do this? And it took months and months and months. Once that was good and I was running, it's like, okay, I got a little breathing room. My emails aren't taking all day anymore. Now I can add on the blogging competency. And because I gained confidence in the email, and then I worked to gain confidence in blogging. Now, 2.5 years later, I'm actually a confident blogger at this point too. 3 years ago, I just thought I could not blog. I could not write. It was a total limiting belief. Now I've got it and I love it. And I'm having a ton of fun. So grow your next high potential competency and just keep building confidence. Remember, when you get competent with something, confidence is what emerges from it. This path leads you to success with your strategy, and then you stick with that long enough and you will ultimately achieve your goal. And then you do this enough times over in the different areas of life, you will transform your life into something that will absolutely amaze you. So I want to show you a little bit about my growth through marketing competencies. I'm going to run through this relatively quick because I covered parts of this, but I started making money online with social media and affiliate marketing in 2003. That lasted until 2004, until they changed the terms of service. I had it all wrong from the get-go, so it went down to zero. So then literally 6 years to get back on the horse with a digital business. I tried real estate investing. I tried a bunch of network marketing, a bunch of scams, a bunch of get rich quick, blah, blah, blah. I wasted 6 years thinking the grass was greener somewhere else. And I didn't just go double down on what I had learned from my biggest mistake. So then in 2010, actually 2009, Melanie and I started our website. All in on digital marketing, which started out with content marketing because we had no money to advertise at all. So SEO, keyword research, the basics. Then we learned list building. Then we learned how to sell information products, the shopping carts, all those bits and pieces. In about 2014, I added on Facebook advertising. And that's what we grew through about 2016. Then I wanted to learn how to teach what I know, right? So up until 2016, I was doing the work. Then in 2016, I was like, okay, now I want to teach what I know. That's a whole new level to the game, which is what we just covered from when I started making videos in August of 2016. Then growing my email list, you heard that. Syndicating out my content was the next one. It took several months to dial in that system. Daily email broadcasts, I started in February of 2018 until present. Literally, it wasn't until the end of December that I started adding those to my website, right? So I'm doing these daily emails for 10 months. Wow, 10 months before I had the brilliant idea, oh, I should put this content somewhere else, right? I just wasn't thinking about it. I was solely focused on building the competency. Then writing the doing copywriting for the content and conversion sales letter. That was July of 2018. Now learning how to do these types of deep dive course creations. This is where a lot of my life energy is going, is how do I create better, more impacting courses that are actually going to help you experience the transformation that I've promised in that sales letter and that I want to see you have, right? I really actually want you to help you transform your life in a way that you not only get that 10 grand, 20, 30 grand a month income, but you love your life. You have time freedom. You have loving relationships with your family members. You're in great health. Your mindset is spot on, and you're looking for ways to help change the world for the better. That's where I'm at. So how do I now create these types of courses in a way that get that sort of impact? And I want to talk real quick about my growth through other types of life competencies, because that was all in on the main idea around marketing, right? That was the marketing and the money side, which is what I've promised to teach you here in content to conversion, but really that fulfillment and making sure that your mindset's square and that you don't fall in the trap of depression from making all the money in the world and buying all these things and it still feels like rubbish, because that unfortunately is the trick to a consumer lifestyle. So I started meditating in 2004 after several failed relationships. I had just a string of breakups and just really challenging, unhealthy relationships. And I was like, whoa, something's going on, something's wrong. I don't even remember where I got tipped off to meditation, but I found these meditations that aren't even sold anymore. And I loved it. It felt good. So I just started meditating in the evenings. Then shortly after I did that for a little bit, I went to college in New Mexico. I gave up on dating completely. I decided I was just going to go study interpersonal communications. I was going to learn how to communicate better. This was part from a class I took in college, part from just some books and DVDs that kind of fell into my lap. Out of that, I really got inspired about the law of attraction, the world of metaphysics. One book that really kind of put me on my path in that world was the Celestine Prophecies, which is a fiction book. It's a great read. It just got me thinking about energy and how people interact. And I saw a lot of the things that happened in my high school that I didn't love. I just went all in. Law of attraction, metaphysics, consciousness, how the world works, quantum physics, about 2 years, just deep dive study. It was after this that I hadn't been dating at all. I actually met Melanie. And at that point, I had built myself up to a person that I liked myself. I was no longer completely self-destructive and self-sabotaging. I was no longer the punk ass who I was in 2003 and earlier. And I'm comfortable saying that because I was a total punk ass for a while. And I learned how to love, and I learned how to be loved in 09 through today. And I still work on that side, and so does Melanie. We work very hard on that. Spiritual development came after that. I self-study on just reading all of the books I could get my hands on, going to classes, going to seminars, learning from local teachers. Then I hit that wall when I went flat broke, had to move back in with my parents. So I took on the how to manage money, right? How do I not go flat broke again was literally where that stemmed from. That's ongoing for sure, but it took until about 2014 till I could literally get to the point where I was like not borrowing money from my parents anymore. And for the record, I was like 33 at that point or something. So like, yeah. And then improving my diet and getting exercise routines going on. I really was negligent of that for a very long time. Something I still keep in mind to this day. Learning how to invest, right? Once I started creating a surplus, my money management was working right. Now I'm creating now how do I invest this? How do I get my monies to make more monies for me? Now it's how do I reforest land and start to protect land through trust? I was able to obtain 20 acres of forested land. Somebody, the timber barons came and cut the timber down 30 years ago. And I'm going to now reforest a piece of land and learn how to move that into a trust and start to protect wildlands and to protect nature habitat, because that's that next level. So this is really where I want to get you to, but most people can't think about these things until they figure out the money game. So we got to do all of them, and true fulfillment comes from working with and on all of them. And transformation ultimately creates a new person. The Miles Beckler here right now, today, talking to you is not the same person as in 2003. Now, the science proves that every single body part within our body system completely replaces itself, right? The way that cells divide and the old cells die off and new cells come in, like literally, I think it's like every 9 years. There's a statistic, you can easily find it, that our body is actually regenerating in ourselves. But even on a supernatural level, as that definition of metamorphosis said in the beginning, we are actually creating a new person. And that's when I say that the Miles Beckler here to you today is not the same person as in 2003. In 2003, I cared about one person. It was me. How do I get what I need? And this Miles here today, I'm able to let that just be what is and trust, and I'm all about helping. How can I create the greatest impact in the world? And that is an absolute transformation. Now, some of the goals that I've accomplished stemmed from frustrations, right? So like when I hit that wall and I ran out of money completely, had to go move back in with my parents, that level of disgust, and that was absolute disgust in myself at that moment in time. That's where I found the motivation to not only dig deeper on the business. You've probably heard the business growth for Melanie and I, but that was when I committed to like, I'm going to figure out this money game because I am never going flat broke again. I'm never going all in on anything again, and I'm never going flat broke. And that's when I learned about emergency accounts and really just how to create a stable financial kind of situation and get a good relationship with money. And others came from desires. When I gave up on dating completely and was like, I'm just going to go all in personal development. I'm going to read the books, The Road Less Traveled. I'm just going to do my time to really learn what is going on in my head and why do I keep having these repeated failed relationships. That was because I really truly wanted a loving relationship that was supportive, that would help me kind of craft that next level to my life. So some come out of desires, some come out of frustrations. Every competency requires a separate learning curve. I don't care if you're learning how to listen to be able to communicate better with your mate, or if you're learning how to implement Facebook ads or make YouTube videos. They all have a learning curve, and you need to go all in on that learning curve. That's why I love the 90-day challenges. Even if you want to lose weight, right? Like there's a learning curve to that. How do I portion control? How do I eat less? Okay. How do I burn more energy throughout the day? There's a learning curve. You park at the back of the parking lot and you take an extra 300 steps in when you show up to Walmart or wherever, like there's all these little competencies, and each one has its own learning curve. When you get a lot of different competencies going on that work together, that's when you create what you want. And a lot of these competencies are actually learned in tandem. So although I stated clearly that I want you to go all in on one competency, let's say you're going all in on blogging, that actually is built up of many ones, right? There's keyword research, you're going to get competent there. There's the basics of WordPress. There's the basics of SEO. All of those pieces you're going to get competent with. So you're going to learn a lot of them in tandem. And the transformation of becoming a new person, really, as you achieve goals in many areas of your life, that's when you achieve the transformation. That's when life starts to get absolutely magic. And in this process, aspects of your old life must actually die out for the new you to emerge. The caterpillar does not survive when that butterfly emerges, right? Like it just doesn't. And that's what I said, the old Miles, the 2013 Miles living on a beach in Santa Monica, like that guy is not here anymore. And that's a good thing for our world. But the comfort of your old life does actually battle the desire for your new life. You can actually get a little bit of an internal and even sometimes an external conflict, right? So what I mean by this is if you are currently working a day job and you actually have some really good relationships, there's aspects of that that you will absolutely miss. You will be sad the day you leave. You might have more joy for the fact that you now create enough money with your side hustle that you don't have to go back to that office anymore. But there is going to be an aspect of you that is saddened and will maybe feel grief and loss because you're no longer going to be going there anymore because your life is totally going to transform, right? I haven't showed up to an office building for 10 years at this point in time. And there's some interesting camaraderie that I'm missing out on in this situation. But you can find new ways to fill those types of gaps. So this is mentioned in here because I want you to be ready for it. And I want you to know that the mental game is the key. Another thing that you'll probably find is that some relationships just don't withstand the test of time. And that's okay. Some of the people I hung out with and some of the people I spent time with back in 03, 02, 01, like I don't really hang out or see them anymore. And that's okay because now I'm living a new life that's in a new way. And I'm okay with that. And I miss them sometimes and I drop them texts from time to time and I hop on the phone from time to time. And it always kind of blows my mind of just the change, the metamorphosis that I've been through. So just know that there is a potential for internal and external conflict. It's not really a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. It's kind of a natural reaction to this process, and keeping your mental game steady, keeping yourself focused on your reasons why you want to create these transformations is absolutely key. So the old you and the new you. Now, the aspects of the old you or the you right now can and will support who you are becoming. Right? So there are aspects of the Miles Beckler I was back then who supported me into growing who I am now. And again, you might miss aspects of your old life and you may even experience grief in this situation because you're creating and entering a whole new world with new rules. And the best way for me to kind of like show you this is that transition from employee to manager to self-employed to business owner to investor. Now, I was an employee for a very large corporation that was run by Hallmark. I was a customer support representative for about 4 years. The manager of that department got pregnant and she had maternity leave right through our busy season. We sold greeting cards, thank you cards, Christmas cards. So it was right during the Christmas season when she was out on her maternity leave. I stepped up as manager. Totally different world, totally different set of rules for me to play by, different politics in the office place from being the customer service rep to being the manager over a department of 30 people at that point in time. Then the transition to self-employed. I was able to bring some of the aspects of what helped me as a good employee, my work ethic. I was able to bring some of the aspects of what helped me as a manager, my ability to hire people and interview people and really grow my team. But as self-employed, it's a new world. There's all sorts of new challenges I did not know about, like paying taxes, quarterly tax payments. And there's way more than that, right? If as an employee, you show up, you punch your clock, generally speaking, you'll get your paycheck. As a self-employed individual, if you don't hunt, you don't eat. It's that simple. So how to go strum up business, how to market myself, how to attract clients, how to build relationships with long-term clients, how to get referrals, all these new things I had to learn. Then there's the level of business owner, which is now I'm not necessarily the one who's hitting the feeder bar to grow this business. How do I put teams and automations and teammates and individuals in place to then grow the business outside of my time so I can focus on creating this kind of content for you? And then there's the idea of investor, which that's a whole crazy different world that has even different rules that I'm now learning at this point in time. So you're literally like working your way through different worlds, and each world has different rules. So be ready for that and know that when you leave one world, there's going to be aspects you might miss. Some people, when they get to self-employed and business owner, they're like, man, that steady paycheck was so nice. But then you hit a point where you're bringing in that 30 grand a month, and all of a sudden you're starting to tuck 15, 20 grand a month away in your investments. And then there's a different feeling of like, okay, I'm moving up to this next world. This is kind of fun, but wow, what do I do here? And it's just an ever evolving process. So your long-term success is really, really solidified when you build competencies, because you will always have a fallback plan. What I mean by this, when you take the time to truly build competencies around keyword research, search engine optimization, how to write great blog posts that are optimized for the search engines, how to lay them out on WordPress, right? How to do the basics of graphics on whether Canva or whatever software tool you're using for your graphics, and you're able to create good quality blog posts, and you're able to drive traffic, and you're able to connect with the search engine, and that game works, you are a valuable asset for any small business in your area. Now, here's the thing. You may want to go apply those skills for local businesses to generate more cash flow more quickly, but you may not. You may want to keep all of that energy focused on growing your asset and your business so you can achieve your goals and ultimately hit that transformation more quickly. When I was getting going, Melanie and I had generated a fair bit of traffic. About 2010, we were getting 30, 40,000 visits per month. I started posting about it on social media, and all of a sudden people were like, hey, I got a friend who just started a coffee roasting company. Can you build him a website? Sure. Hey, I got a friend who does this. Can you help them out? One dude was building custom aquariums out of like New Jersey or something, right? So all these little things started to line up. And I didn't want to work in the office anymore. So I went to doing services instead of working for the boss and the job in the cubicle at that point in time. And that bridged the gap. That's why I was able to go so quickly from being kind of flat broke living with my parents in 2009 to late 2010 being 100% fully online, was because I added that on. But those hours distracted me from growing my long-term asset with Melanie, which actually slowed my process to getting that website fully built, because it took 8-10 hours a day each and every day to work on my client work to pay the bills. So really, I just want to let you know that the byproduct of building the competencies is you becoming a more skilled and a more valuable individual. You add on the copywriting skills, you add on Facebook advertising if that's in your future, you add on all these little things, and you just become a marketing weapon that can be implemented and applied to any business out there. So when you build something based on actual competencies, if for some reason that falls apart, your fallback plan is you've got the skills. You can go recreate that again because you did it the right way. You didn't find some loophole that allowed you to click here and do this and do that, and all of a sudden you made a little flash in the pan income like I did in 2003 that completely disappears and sends you into alcohol-induced depression because you thought you were on top of the world and you went literally to rock bottom. I didn't build any skills in that phase, which is why it took me literally 6 years to get back on that horse. But today, if it all came crumbling down, I know exactly what to do. And like, I wouldn't even have a hiccup at all. And you will build this yourself when you focus on growing and building these competencies, gaining confidence with them. Having a big why, something that's more than money, is absolutely key to maintaining your motivation long term. You got to have leverage on yourself when it's about your family, it's about your relationships, when it's about the charities or your community or something. You, generally speaking, you need to have a purpose that is greater than you, a purpose that is greater than consumerism. If the big house in that neighborhood and the car with that badge on it motivates you, great, go for it. At some point, it probably won't motivate you anymore, and you're going to have to think about those bigger picture ideas. That is the path to true fulfillment. Problem solving and great communication are absolutely just required competencies on every level. Communication with yourself, communication with your spouse, communication with your family, your vendors, your friends, your employees, your teammates. Communication is so powerful. And problem solving, like the path of becoming a successful entrepreneur, is just filled with challenge and problem after challenge and problem. So getting comfortable at the process of identifying the problem and literally learning how to become a problem solver, that is a competency that you can build that will be of great service to you long term. And be gentle with yourself. It's a long path. You're going to go through the learning curves over and over and over. Just like I decided to jump into YouTube in 2016. Oh my gosh, I was at ground zero. Here I was thinking I was pretty good at the internet marketing game, and it was very difficult to get started on YouTube from ground zero. I built that up. I got through that learning curve, took about 6 months. Email marketing. Oh my gosh, my wife's been doing this forever. This is so difficult. Wow, I'm just terrible at this. And I started and I went through the learning curve because I did a 90-day challenge there, then the blog, then the podcast, and now more emails and on and on. And now I'm doing these content for you in these videos. So just be gentle with yourself. It is a long path, repeated learning curves, challenges are normal. You're going to hit bumps on the wall. Be sure to spend time in the forums, get a mastermind group out of the forum, join up with other people who are on the same path. We're all going through the same types of stuff. Today, with my business, the way it is and everything we've got going on, I face bigger challenges more often than I did when I was getting started. They don't stop. I've just gotten better at solving them and better at maintaining a kind of level head through the challenge to see it done. So on a final note, remember that competencies are how you implement the tactics. Getting confidence in the competencies is how you kind of get through the learning curve, get to where you're working on that next tactics. Your relentless execution of the tactics are how you implement the strategy. Remember, it goes GST. So we start with the tactics support the strategy. Then you get your strategy running and you successfully execute it for long enough and you achieve your goal. That's the third part. Then achieving the goals in all of the different areas of your life is what ultimately leads to that transformation. The next steps, we've got another video coming up next, and you've got an actual worksheet to fill out. So I want you to go at the bottom of this, below this video, inside of the forums, you're going to find the Gst Roadmap Worksheet, and you're going to get a link to the Gst Roadmap Workshop video. Wow, it was a mouthful. So what you're going to do is you're now going to fill out your own personal map. This is going to take all these ideas we've just swam around in, and I want you to get focused, and I want you to get them out of your head onto a piece of paper that is going to act as your personal roadmap. So this is the GST roadmap. When you're done with it, it's something you're literally going to hang on the wall near you, and it is going to keep you focused day in, day out. Every minute of every day, you're going to be focused on the right tactics, the right strategy, the right goals, so you can achieve the right kind of transformation that you desire in your life. This will be a financial transformation for you, but it will also be well beyond the finances when you focus this and apply this on all aspects of your life. And I can tell you, true fulfillment in life comes from a lot more than the money. True fulfillment comes from health. It comes from well-being. It comes from loving relationships. It comes from friends. You can create an amazing life filled with fulfillment. You can transform into that, and this GST is the path. In this video, you're going to learn how to take all of those ideas from the level up training you just watched, the goals, the strategies, the tactics, the competencies, and how to organize them in a way and how to really bring them into reality by filling out a specific worksheet that you're going to use as your personal roadmap. You'll need to print out your blank GST roadmap. You'll find this as a PDF attached to the post that you're watching this video in, and you can just click on it. It'll open the PDF, click print, it'll print out. If you don't have a printer available, you can just draw this out on binder paper. You can draw this out on a piece of blank printer paper. Essentially, it's got one main horizontal section right in the middle, and then it's broken up into 4 quadrants, 2 above and 2 below. The top left quadrant is your 5-year goal. Then the top right quadrant is your 18-month strategy. Bottom left is 90-day plan. Bottom right is your 7-day plan. And in the center is your reason why, your purpose. What we're going to do on this video is go through each of these sections to help you fill out your personal roadmap. You're going to be pausing the video in order to take the time to kind of think about what we're talking about and actually get it down on paper for you. Every business model is different. You need to tailor this for yourself so you can get a personalized roadmap that gets all of those competencies and activities in the right order so you can get on that fast track to success. Let's jump in. Starting in the top left corner, I want you to fill out your 5-year goal. Specifically, I want you to stay focused on the amount of profit, the actual take-home amount of money you desire to be earning in 5 years' time. This is actually what you're going to bring home at the end. So you may want to take some time to think about the lifestyle that you want to be living. What city do you want to be living in? What size house do you want to be living in? Be sure to think about if you got kids, your wife, do you want your wife or spouse, if you have a husband, do you want them to continue working? Are you wanting to retire them as well? Do you have kids that are going to be entering the college age? So really be specific and make sure when you set your goals that you're setting a goal that's large enough to actually account for the lifestyle that you truly desire. Second up, I want you to list the different products that you see yourself offering in 5 years. And this is the second kind of checkpoint because you need to make sure that the products you're offering have the ability to get you to that profit level you desire. Now, every business model has different margins, but let's say you're choosing to focus on a $30,000 per month profit in 5 years. That's your goal. It's for most digital businesses, if you're selling digital products, memberships, etc., and you've got a team growing, you should expect about 50 to 75% will actually come back to you as profit. So if you want to be making $30,000 a month profit in your pocket, you would expect to need to earn about $60,000 per month revenue. So that's where we're looking at your product offerings. Are the products that you're offering, do they have the ability to generate that kind of revenue? If you're doing one-on-one sessions and you spend 1 hour and you earn $100 per hour, there's no way that you could ever actually get to the level of $60,000 per month with that kind of a business model. So this is what I mean when you need to consider your product offerings. And this is also the idea of a value ladder that you've probably heard of before. Most businesses are going to have front-end offers. Most businesses will have continuity offers, which is like a membership program or some sort of ongoing recurring income. And many businesses will have high ticket products. These could be high ticket events. They could also be high ticket one-on-one coaching. You need to really just take a look at where you're at now, where you see yourself going with your audience, the challenges and the things you help your audience solve in the future, and list out what you believe your product offerings will be in that 5-year goal. Then, what teammates? What is your team structure? Who are the individuals that you are going to need to get on your team to help you achieve this specific 5-year goal? Generally speaking, you're going to want to outsource the customer support. You're going to want to have a developer and or a designer at this point in your life. You may want to have some sort of chief operations officer. You may have someone running joint ventures, and you may have an affiliate manager if that's the direction that you're going in. You may have a media buyer. Think about the individuals you want involved in your business to help you deliver said products and support your customers towards the goal of that monthly profit. And then your daily duties. What are you willing to do each and every day? Dig in with your rolling up your sleeves and getting to work each and every day for your audience, right? There's no version of an internet business where one gets to the point where they're making $60,000 a month and they're just swinging on hammocks drinking Mai Tais. That is a false belief. That is not actually a reality. You must be engaged in delivering value for your audience day in and day out. So what are those activities that you are going to tackle each and every day that you're going to be excited to continue to show up for your audience for? It could be creating new product offerings. It could be creating new deliverables for your membership program. It could be creating daily content, daily emails, whatever that is. What do you see your daily duties as? Go ahead and pause this video if you haven't got that all filled out, and get filled out for your 5-year goal now before we go on to that next piece. The next step, we're going to the middle section. Now we need to really get your idea and your understanding about the big emotional reason why you must achieve this 5-year goal. What is it about your lifestyle now, where you want to go with your lifestyle, that makes achieving that goal, that number that you put out there, required, right? Is it your family? Is it generally speaking, it's going to be more powerful when it is something external, when it's focused on your family, when it's focused on time with your kids, if you're involved in your community, in your local church, in some sort of volunteer organization, and that's where you want to spend your time. Generally, those types of reasons why are going to drive you farther than simple monetary goals. We know what the number is, but I will say, sometimes you just want to upgrade to a larger house that'll fit your family more comfortably, and you want very specific, a large backyard. You maybe want a gentleman's ranch or a gentle lady's ranch, 5 acres with a garden and a little orchard type thing. These can be a part of your why as well. It needs to be something that charges you up emotionally. And this is, you want to write this out bold, nice, big and bold in the center. So every time you look at this roadmap, the why, your reason why you are going to overcome the challenges, the reasons why you are going to persevere through thick and thin, to do all of the things required to truly achieve your 5-year goal. If you don't have that why down there, and that why isn't emotionally compelling for you, you'll run out of energy. This is the fuel that will fire you up all the way through the marathon. So be sure to take some time and write a very, very specific and personal preferably emotional reason why, defining your purpose and exactly why you're going to be putting in the work you're going to be putting in, because I can tell you firsthand, whether you want to generate $10,000 a month, $30,000 a month, or $100,000 a month, it takes a lot more effort than most of the fake gurus have been willing to tell you. It's okay though, because we're delivering value in the lives of others and we're creating the life of our dreams. You just got to get that down on paper. Why is that important for you? So pause it if you haven't gotten that figured out yet. Welcome back. And now let's move on to the 18-month strategy. So this is your checkpoint, right? In any sort of race, in any, whether it's a Tour de France, whether it's a rallycross race, we have checkpoints. We're always looking in at where am I at in regards to my goal. And the first big, or the next big checkpoint for you is this 18-month out window. So that is a year and a half from right now. And there's approximately 3.5 18-month periods within the 5-year goal. Now, you don't simply divide your 5-year goal by 3 because you're going to get compounding return on your efforts. So generally speaking, at a third of the way to your goal, you maybe are only seeing 10% or 15% of the results, not 33% of the results. Because when you get later in the game, year 4, you're generally going to be getting greater results for the same efforts compared to year 3. Year 3, you're going to get greater results for the same amount of effort than year 2, and so on. So you want to think about where you want to be in 5 years and then back that out. At least 20% would be a good rough number to shoot for. You could even bring that number down to 15% of that big 5-year goal as your profit checkpoint in the 18-month strategy. Then do the same with the products. If you listed out that you want to have front-end products, back-end products, high-ticket products, events, and upsells, and a membership, great. Which one of those are going to be done in the next 18 months? Which ones of those are going to be most important for you to work on first? This is how we're organizing all of the bits and pieces and all of the things that need to get done into a specific actionable strategy so you can actually get through things in the right order. I want to give you a little bit more specifics on the order here. Generally speaking, I believe it's in your best interest to focus on the front end products, right? Those initial products that are going to help your clients and leads turn into paying customers. And also, you either will want to work on one of your high ticket offerings or your membership offering. But in 18 months, you don't want to put too much on your plate. There's a lot to do to create a successful front-end offer, to do all the split testing, to get it up, to get it running, to get it marketing, etc. And if you multiply that out by getting a membership program going as well, or a high-ticket back-end sale, that is a lot of work, and that is potentially going to get you really focused and on that path 18 months down, right? A third of the way, a little under a third of the way there towards your ultimate goal. Then what is your team going to look like at that point? So you're probably not going to be bringing in as much income at the 18 months as you will at the 5-year. So hiring a high-end chief operations officer, hiring a media buyer that might cost $100 per hour to run your ads, that's probably not going to be likely in the 18-month strategy. But getting customer support off to someone possibly in the Philippines for $6 per hour, maybe somebody in North America for $20 per hour, that could work for your business at that point. Development and design are two things that you can generally get off of your plate relatively early. You can hire developers and designers in many countries around the world to get a good kind of arbitrage value on those individuals, and or just using Upwork, Odesk, or it's Upwork now, and you could be using Upwork and Fiverr in this situation as well to kind of do one-off projects with people. So what does your team look like at the 18-month point? Then this is where we're getting into the actual funnel strategy and the traffic strategy. And you're going to make your best guess idea from right here where you are at this moment based on your skills and what you know about the game of what is your traffic strategy going to be and what is your funnel strategy going to be. So the funnel might have a opt-in followed by a one-time offer for a lower ticket product, followed by a one-click upsell for a higher end product. And that funnel might be having all of those products we talked about a couple of bullet points above. It might have all of those products engaged in one specific funnel. Then for your traffic strategy, maybe you've been doing YouTubes every day for 18 months. Maybe you've been doing 4 YouTube videos per week for the last 18 months, and you're running Facebook ads at this point in time, right? So what is the traffic strategy? And you're making your best guess. We don't know what the world is going to be like in 18 months. You're making your best guess now based on what you know and what you're good at. Right? If the thought of making videos scares you, you would never put YouTube down on here. You would say blogging if you prefer to write. So you want your best guess as to where you're going to be within 18 months. I do think it's possible within 18 months to get multiple traffic channels firing very, very well. You could be doing YouTube organic and YouTube paid at the same time. You could be doing YouTube, blogging, and Pinterest all at the same time. You could be counting on your email list to drive a lot of your traffic, and then also be doing blogging and Pinterest and Facebook advertising. So whatever you think is going to work best for you in this next 18 months, you want to enter that in the top right quadrant. Go ahead and pause the video if you haven't completed this at this point, and I'll be back with you in a quick second. All right, moving on. Now we're going to go down to the 90-day strategy and plan. Now, specifically in the 90-day plan, you are breaking out the next quarter, and we're hyper-focused on what are you going to accomplish, what are you going to create and bring out into the world in the next 90 days. In the Level Up video, you learn the power of competencies. And if you know that your 5-year goal, your 18-month checkpoint, all have to do with sales funnels, and you're going to have to learn how to sell products, one of those new competencies may be copywriting. And in the next 90 days, you are going to start the process of becoming a good copywriter. So that might be one of the competencies that you want to put on in the next 90-day plan. Now, from a 90-day plan to an 18-month program, there's 6 sessions, right? So you're gonna have 6 90-day series in a row to lead up to that 18-month plan. So in theory, if you can learn a new competency every 90 days, you can add on 6 new competencies within the time frame of that 18-month plan. So one competency could be WordPress and Thrive themes, so you can build your funnels. If you've already got your funnel built, you might be ready to take on the competency of copywriting. If you've already been studying copywriting, maybe that competency you're looking to add on is Facebook advertising. Base it off of what you've already got going and what is going to get you to that 18-month plan. Then, what is that next new offer that you're going to launch within 90 days? You should be able to launch any offer within 90 days. So think logically about what you have and where you want to be. If you don't have your opt-in offer yet and you don't have your paid products yet, well, the first one to start is your opt-in offer, the free offer, your freemium offer that people are going to opt in for so you can grow your list. So that would be where you start. Now, if you have your opt-in offer dialed and you don't have any paid offers yet, obviously, that next step for you would be your first paid offer. If you've got a few paid offers, maybe it's time to think about doing that membership program, or maybe it's time to think about the high-end one-on-one consulting that you might be offering. Then, in the next 90 days, do you need to hire someone to support you in this plan? Are you stuck spending an hour or two every single day doing customer support, closing tickets for yourself, and you need to get that off of your plate within the next 90 days? Oftentimes, between the hiring process, right, vetting people, going through the interviewing process, and all of those bits and pieces, that can easily take several weeks to a month. Then you've got a month or more of training them. So it really does work well to focus on a 90-day plan to bring on someone new to take something off of your plate. But if you're not in a position where you can afford to have a teammate, that's okay. You wouldn't include that here in your particular 90-day plan, and you would be working on generating revenue enough to start to outsource certain things. Then, with a new offer, you'll need a landing page, whether this is a sales page for a new product that you're offering, or whether it's an opt-in page. What new landing page are you needing to launch within 90 days to make sure you're on that path to the 18-month schedule? Then, what traffic source? You're probably working on a traffic source right now. You might be all in on one of them. You might be doing a 90-day challenge on YouTube right now, and that might be all that you have mental bandwidth to handle. Perfect. Just put that in there. Make sure that your traffic source you're working on in the 90-day plan is in alignment with your 18-month goal. Do you see how this is working? Each of these boxes leads to the next. So your 90-day plan, when executed consistently, successfully over time, leads you directly to your 18-month checkpoint. And when you keep with that successfully, same strategy, then you will reach your 5-year goal. It's exactly how it works here. So make sure everything is in alignment and get down the traffic source. If you're already dominating, you've already done a 90-day challenge. What is that next traffic source that you're adding on? Make sure it's a competency that works with something else. So if you've been blogging a lot, Pinterest is a great one to add on there. You could possibly start to add on guest posting. You could possibly start to add on podcast guest spots, right? There's an entire traffic course here inside of the forums for you. It's a 5-part course that goes really, really deep into some great traffic methodologies if you need ideas in that world, but you want to write down what traffic sources you are going to be working on. And then that brings us down to the 7-day plan. Now, in the 7-day plan, you need to focus it down to 3 specific things. Now, I've been using this 3 things trick for over 10 years now. I learned it from Mike Dillard back in, I don't even know what year it was, to be honest, like 09, maybe 2010. And Mike Dillard taught that he had a little notepad file on his computer, and he just kept the 3 things he was working on, and he kept filling it out. And every day he would go look in, he would go work on those 3 things and only those 3 things until they were done. And then he would replace them with 3 new things. I've evolved that idea into this action plan for you. So you're able to write out the 3 specific tasks that you're working on. All of these tasks need to be able to be accomplished within 1 week. Now, a quick note here. If you're doing a 90-day challenge and you're doing a video a day every day, that's 1 task, right? So 7 videos this week is actually 1 task because that's focused on your 1 traffic source. So if you're doing a 90-day challenge and you also want to be launching a new list building opt-in offer in the 90-day window, you should be maybe outlining your opt-in offer in this next 90 days. If you've already got that going and it's time for you to bring out your product to the world, then going through the trick to creating online courses video that I've got, you can go through that video and then you can outline your course. You wouldn't necessarily be able to launch that whole course in the 7-day plan, right? That's going to take probably closer to 90 days. But what are those first actions you need to do right now from where you're at to get progress towards that which is on your 90-day plan, that which you are launching? So in your 7-day plan, you always want to be working with what are those traffic strategies that you're currently engaged with to keep that traffic turned on, and what are those new things that you're launching out to the world in order to create that next level of growth, bringing you closer to your 18-month target, right? So if you want to launch a new product, what is that new product? Where do you start? Do you start with a sales letter? Do you need to survey your list if you have a list to see exactly what their number 1 biggest challenge is with whatever your niche is? If it's losing weight, what's their number 1 biggest challenge with losing weight? Maybe this week you survey your list and you go through and you organize all of their responses so you know exactly what they're looking for within the product, etc. I want you to come up with 3 things on the 7-day plan. I do recommend that you keep in mind your health, your mindset, and your family life. Sometimes it's incredibly important to schedule time with your family every single week, right? The whole goal of building a successful business online is to create lifestyle freedom, to create a more enjoyable life. So it does make good sense to take care of those things and actually schedule them in today, right in the here and now. If you have been ignoring your health, maybe daily walks is something you put on your 7-day plan. Maybe going to the gym 3 times a week is something that you put on your 7-day plan. Maybe it's meditating every day is something that you put on your 7-day plan, and you stick to it. I would recommend putting only 1 thing in the mind, body, health, mind, body, spirit category there. And ultimately, when you are operating as a fully successful business in the next 5 years, you will be doing a lot more than 3 things every week, right? So right now for me, for example, I email my list every single day. I put up my 3 YouTube videos each week. I put up a blog post every single week. I do my content and conversion videos each month. None of those things reach my 7-day plan. Those are all the habits that I've created. Those are all that's my baseline. That's my normal, right? What I put in my 7-day plan are those things that are beyond the normal, that are going to get me towards that next level of success. So for me, right here and now, I'm working on putting together an event for the content and conversion group. And really, I'm searching for the location is what's on my 7-day plan. Within the next 18 months, I'm going to be running an event. But right now in the 7-day plan, the next thing is to find the location. And then in a few weeks, I'll be actually traveling to the location to go check out that place, right? So I don't put my videos on here because that's second nature at this point. When do you stop putting things on? Well, when it becomes second nature and you're ready to get more done and you feel like you have regained more time. My first videos took me all day to get done. Now I can do a video in an hour and I've got all that extra time throughout the day. So I dedicate that towards the growth of my business. And that's really it. When you go through this process, you have completed the Gst Roadmap. And now you can hang this near your office. I want this thing visible for you. You're going to be working with this in a couple of ways, which I'll show you here next. But the big important idea here is that you can clearly read and see your why, your purpose, that part in the middle. If you need to highlight it, highlight it. If you need to accentuate it somehow with colors, accentuate it. If you're visual and you want to doodle and draw on this to outline and to kind of emphasize certain things, do it. Don't spend a bunch of time, but feel free to be creative with this process because this is your roadmap that you need to have within your visual range every time you enter your office, every time you're sitting at your computer. You need to have this around. So hang it up near your workspace, then go all in on your 7-day tasks. Now you have a filter to run everything through. So if you think, oh man, should I go into my email and answer all of these emails? Take a look over your 7 days tasks. Are any of those things in alignment with your 7-day task? If not, get your 7-day tasks done first. Should I go post this on Instagram or do I need to go do a Facebook story today? Or I don't know. Is it in alignment with your 7-day tasks? Because if it's not in alignment with your 7-day tasks, then it's not going to leave you to your 90-day goal. And if it's not a 90-day goal, there's no way it's going to get you to your 18-month checkpoint. And if it doesn't appear on the 18-month checkpoint, it will absolutely never be able to get you to your 5-year goal. And that's what we've created here is a framework. It's a filter for you to run all of your daily activities through. And you need to make sure you're going all in on those 3 tasks that are going to take you all week to get done. Every time you go through a 1-week cycle, there's approximately 12 7-day periods in the 90-day segment, right? So you're going to go through this 7-day process 12 times over, and that should be enough to get you to your 90-day goal. So if you broke all those things in your 90-day goal down into about 10 or so equal-sized parts, that's what you need to be working on each and every week. And that is what the most productive people in our world are doing. They're laser focused on those actions to take today, those things they can do today to build the competencies and to build the assets for a better business for themselves in the future. Those who do not succeed at business allow themselves to be distracted. They don't have a roadmap to follow. They're responding to random social media alerts and updates and emails from other people. They're not doing their work. They are actually cogs in other people's wheels. This is how you stay focused on what's most important. So when you get done with your 7 days and you reach next week, so 8 days from today, what you're going to do is you're going to put a Post-it note over top of that 7-day plan, and you're going to cross off any items that you completed on your 90-day plan. Then on the Post-it note, you write the next 3 tasks that also have a 1-week deadline. So you're consistently pulling things from your 90-day plan over to your 7-day plan, right? And that's how you make sure you're always making progress towards your big goals. And if you ever feel disheartened, challenged, if you're feeling like it's a ton of work, that's why your why is written directly above. That's why your purpose is clearly stated above this, because that's how you get leverage on yourself. So you're going to repeat this process about 12 times in a row until you get through the 90-day plan. And what's going to happen at some point, you will have completed enough of those 7-day plans over and over and over that you've gotten everything done on your 90-day plan. And at that point, you create a new GST roadmap. So this is what it'll look like when you're ready to start a new GST roadmap. And honestly, if you get everything on your 90-day plan done in 63 days, great. redo another GST roadmap. That's the power of this. You will actually be able to accomplish more than you imagine you can when you stay focused with a roadmap on a plan. Then what you do when your GST roadmap looks like this is you start a new one. Your 5-year goals should probably not change at all. We need to have laser focus on long-term goals to create massive results. Your 18-month strategy, this is the time when you can think about potentially adjusting it, but I warn you, the more you change your strategy, the less progress you're going to make towards your long-term goal. So the only time you're going to change your 18-month strategy is if something drastic happens to, I don't know, if Pinterest gets shut down completely and Pinterest was a part of your marketing campaign, or if Facebook ads completely take a nosedive and they're just no longer working at all. You may be able to tweak a small component within your traffic strategy or something from your 18-month strategy, but really you don't want to be changing these things because it's that long-term goal and the strategy to get you there applied over long periods of time that is how you achieve the goal and create transformation in your life. So you take those next items from your 18-month strategy, right? You look at your product checkpoint, you look at your team structure, you look at your funnel strategy and your traffic strategy. And once you're done with your first round of your 90-day plan and you make a new one, you bring new items from your 18-month strategy down to your 90-day plan. And then from there, you build out your new 7-day plan and you go through that entire process again. And you put another post-it note on it, day 8, you put another post-it note on it, day 15, put another post-it on it, day 22, and so on and so forth. This is how you reach your goals. You're going to create a new GST roadmap every single 90 days. You're going to choose the next 90-day goals to get you to your 18-month, and then you're going to start with 3 new tasks for the week to get you to your 90, right? So those tasks we do in the 7-day this week lead us towards our 90-day goal. Then when we achieve our 90-day goal, that's steps towards our 18-month checkpoint, towards the big strategy. Then when we keep on that 90-day application of our 18-month strategy for long enough, we will achieve our 5-year goal. Final notes. Rarely change your 5-year and 18-month targets. This is so important. So many people in this world start trying drop shipping and they get 2-3 months into it and they're like, oh, this is really tough. Okay, affiliate marketing will be easier. So then they get 2-3 months in affiliate marketing. Oh man, this is really tough. Maybe I need to do XYZ marketing, or I need to do network marketing, or I need to do this. And they are always changing their goals and they're never making long-term progress towards the goals. It's the number one problem newbies have in this world. So rarely change your 5-year and 18-month target. Complete a new GST roadmap every single 90 days. And for deeper insights, my goal with this video was to make a concise version that'll help you get through this training so you can get your GST roadmap dialed in really quickly, because you might watch this video every 90 days. So I wanted to have a quick one for you, which is what I recorded here. But if you want a deeper dive into this process, below the video in this top thread, you're going to find a link to a question and answer. It was a live Q&A session I did on January 1st where we went through this process together. I think we had like 50 members or 75 members on, and we did a lot of question and answer. We went deeper into each one of these sections and we talked about the different options for different people. So if you're stumped for ideas, if you don't feel like you got enough to fill it all out, go watch that deeper dive. If you got what you needed, great. Hang this thing up and get to work. Grind it out on those 7-day goals. You'll be amazed at what you create, because when you focus on taking that next step each day, just one step towards that 1 week, and then sure enough, 12 weeks later, you've accomplished all your 90-day goals. Sure enough, you do that 6 times over, you've now reached your 18-month target. Do that a few times out, and you will have created absolute transformation in your world. This is how successful business owners create massive assets that can pay out crazy amounts of money. Now you have the roadmap, you have the plan, and it is all about execution and implementation. Any questions for me, you can get at me below this video. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to helping you accomplish your goals. You can do it, especially when you break it down to logical, simple, easy to manage tasks. You'll be amazed at what you create. Thanks again.